What does Batman do when he's already lost? The Scarecrow has thought bigger than Batman, prepped for everything, and taken him down. Well, today I'm going to tell you the story of Fear State and how we get to Fear State and then the continuation into Fear State. Today, you are watching Comicstorian, where I take some of your favorite comic books, I break them down into digestible bites, I pull out a lot of the fluff and give you a synopsis of the storyline so that you know what is happening in current comic books and can get the next issue. Or you can decide if you want to get more of this comic and go get this issue. We make a lot of alterations of the panels, text, and images to avoid copyright problems, and all art is owned by its respective companies. Now today we're going to be covering Batman 106, 107, and 108. It is technically the beginning of the Fear State event. The actual event happens quite a few issues in, but grand total, if you include these prelude issues that I'm covering here, we have like 25 issues or more for this entire Batman event. So if you like this at the end of it, please consider pressing that subscribe button, hitting like, and turning on your notifications. But let's go ahead and get into Batman issue 106. You don't really need to know much else, other than Joker War happened before this, and he met Ghostmaker. Let's go. Batman is strapped to a chair and watching dozens of images flash before his pride-opened eyes, telling himself to keep his mind focused, sober, clear. He has to remember what's at stake. He has to remember the training. Put the pieces together in the right order, and he can get out of here alive. Remember everyone that he has failed. Remember the bodies lying on the cold pavement. Remember their thick, wet blood. No, those aren't his thoughts. Those don't even sound like Batman's thoughts. Don't let him in. Start from the beginning. With a bit of shuffling, the masked voice of Scarecrow tells him, "Please take your seats. Silence your devices and direct your attention to the front of the class. Your lecture is about to begin. You are here today to learn the profound effect fear has had on the human body and mind. We start our lesson with the most important question. Why do we fear?" Batman begins to struggle in his restraints, and Scarecrow leans in. "I couldn't help myself from listening. It's okay. It's natural to succumb to fear. It's human, and it's necessary. That is the whole point of this. Without fear, there is no hope for evolution. Here, let me show you." As Batman screams in pain, the needles enter his body, and he tells himself, "Remember, it all started on the road. A woman's voice telling me." Then, at Old Gotham, Batman is racing through the streets to intercept the Unsanity Collective after they have stolen millions in artwork from Archison Cole, CEO and owner of the Gotham Gazette. The Unsanity Collective's leader, Master Ways, claims that since Arkham has fallen, they must reject the past and embrace a new kind of sanity. As Batman gets closer to the speeding glider up above, he fires a grappling hook into the glider and begins to rocket up as the zip line retracts. In front of the Batmobile, one of the thugs on the ground tells him, "Thank God, I was all for the insanity, but I was not wanting to get punched by Batman." At that moment, a sword is thrown into the motorcycle, and Ghostmaker knocks out the first rider, while Batman reminds him, "Do not kill." Ghostmaker says that he only promises to maim. "You don't get to maim either. We're the future of Gotham." But before the thief could finish, Batman punches him and systematically disarms his way to the front. As he brings the glider down, he tells them, "This is over." And the man says, No. Master Ways says this is only the beginning. That people are about to see what the Unsanity has to offer them." Batman holds up the knocked out bodies of the pilot's friends, telling him, "I said, bring it down, now!" Moments later in Robinson Park, Batman finishes tying the thieves up when one of them gets a call over the radio asking if they managed to shake him. Batman answers, stating that their friends are going to prison, and he isn't going to let them get away with terrorizing the city. Ghostmaker then pulls up, stating that he has two unconscious, unmaimed art thieves. What precisely do they do when they keep them alive? Just tie them up and hope for the best? Oracle radios in, stating that the police are on their way, so they might want to disappear. And as the two fire their grappling hooks, Ghostmaker asks for a sparring session back in the garage. He can also beat Bruce back to the townhouse. No vehicles. "I'll take that bet." And the two launch themselves into the air for a friendly competition. Meanwhile, over at Saint Industries, Simon Saint is opening up his birdcage. "I chose to build my company in the heart of Silicon Valley, but I've always dreamed of bringing my company to Gotham for almost 2 decades. I was raised in a rundown walk-up in Tri-Corner Yards before the neighborhood industrialized. It was a hard-scrabbled pressure cooker of a city even then. I even looked up to Thomas Wayne, the wealthiest man in Gotham, who decided to dedicate his life to the people as a physician. But here is how the rest of the world sees Gotham now. As Simon turns on the TV, several people are interviewed about their thoughts on moving into Gotham, and all of them say no in their own way. They would never move to Gotham. Can you blame them though? Look at the last few years. The city has been held in a constant grip of madmen. Mayhem and murder have become all too common. The city has a clown problem, and may not be able to keep one of the ringleaders of the Joker War behind bars. The city sits on its hands for another unsanctioned vigilante to clean it all up. So forgive the question, Mandacano, but when was the last time the officers of the city successfully thwarted a major supervillain attack without Batman? The GCPD, like every police force in the country, was created to help people and stop mundane crimes. But you need to stop extraordinary crimes. You need extraordinary, accountable crime fighters. Which is why I've designed what I call the Magistrate Program. It features a dedicated group of 1 to 5 specifically chosen peacekeepers deputized by the city. The mayor likes the idea of having city-sanctioned vigilantes and agrees to bring it up to his advisors. He steps outside where he hears about Batman's encounter with the Unsanity Collective, and the reporter states that Gotham has not felt this unsafe since the heyday of the Falcone crime family, the days before Batman. The news goes on telling the mayor that Batman is what saves this city. And while he's hearing about how terrified the city is, Scarecrow is having a peek in through his window. Bringing us back to the current situation, and away from the memories. The green glow of the monitor fills the room with Scarecrow placing his hands on Batman's restrained body, telling him, "Hush now, it's rude to interrupt the lecture." Through Batman's muffled screams, he tells himself, "Scarecrow cannot hear my thoughts. He's not really in my head. Scarecrow just wants me to think that. Or have I grown soft while Scarecrow has grown stronger? How can I be sure that he can't hear everything that I'm thinking? No, it's not true. The toxin, or whatever they've done, they're trying to keep me from thinking straight." Scarecrow tightens his grip. "No, I want you to think straight. Memory and fear are intertwined. Memories tell you what you need to fear. Fear brings clarity. Don't run from it, Batman." Batman struggles to free himself. "No, don't listen. Remember how I got here. Remember before I saw the big picture. Remember the straw man on the wooden post." And now we go back to how we got here. You see, earlier news outlets across Gotham and even the world reported on the case of Scarecrow setting up in the mayor's home. However, the strange thing about it is that there was no fear toxin or residue on the fibers of that Scarecrow. You see, it was an actual Scarecrow, just to show that he had the ability to weaponize anything. But he didn't, because it was a fear attack that didn't need toxin. And the tension of the city was risen high enough that Scarecrow would be able to get the people panicking in the streets about a straw man. That panic wasn't going to be the purpose though, not in and of itself. What is Dr. Crane trying to accomplish with this? What is this trying to say? As Batman speaks out loud while examining this Scarecrow, the lights turn on and we see Renee Montoya standing there. "You're contaminating the scene. The mayor convinced me to pick my badge back up, and I got a new commissioner job. Now, I'm not interested in having vigilantes in this case, so I'm going to ask you nicely to leave." Batman looks at all of the officers pointing guns at him. "Yeah, nice and polite." He turns around, throwing down a smoke bomb on the ground, disappearing, and all of the officers quickly rush him. As Renee calls up the mayor to fill him in on what's going on, we find down at Electric Town a crazed man with a mask running down the street, yelling out, "Jungles, jungles, concrete jungles! Down here on the ground, all dead as dirt, already dead, need to put him in the ground." The man is wildly swinging a knife at people, and a motorcycle can be heard with a woman shouting, "Drop your weapon, ne'er-do-well! You're about to get a bit of Gotham City justice courtesy of Harley freaking Quinn! Ain't you a lucky dog?" She then speeds by, cracking the man with her bat, laughing, "Ha ha ha ha! Gee, a good bit of ultraviolence does get the heart pumping." The man is thrown into an electric sign as Harley gets off her bike, telling him, "I know your voice. You're Benji Fink, right? Must have snuck out of Arkham when things all went to hell last month. You're a real nut job. But you're always sweet on meds. What are you calling yourself these days?" He goes on telling her that his name is Stabbo, because he's seen the jungles of hell. So she goes on telling him, "All right, well, you don't do any more stabbing. Batman and his trusty girl wonder Harley Quinn are on the case." Just then, an officer walks up with his gun drawn, telling Harley to back up. This man just stabbed 3 people in Robinson Park. But Harley once again chimes in, informing him that Benji is an A-Day escapee. He just needs some meds, a place to sleep, and he won't hurt anyone. The officer tells her that he doesn't give a damn what she needs, so Harley spins back, smacking the officer. As he falls, she looks over at the other officer, stating, "Oh, well, this isn't gonna go well, is it?" The other officers begin to call him for backup, and then an explosion of smoke happens, and Ghostmaker pops out. "Looks like you could use a hand." "Why would you help me?" "Because Batman is busy, and I'm easily bored, and you fascinate me. But if you'd rather spend the night in Blackgate." A few moments later, the smoke begins to clear, and the officers see a note on Benji's face stating, "Hi, my name is Stabbo. Dr. Harley Quinn says I need my meds." Just then, a well-dressed woman walks up, informing Rex that she is back in Gotham. That means that there's hope. Later, back in Midtown, Simon Saint continues his work late into the night when his assistant, Ricardo, tells him that they have a call from the mayor's office. They have been officially invited to the groundbreaking of the new A-Day Memorial tomorrow. They will be honoring the guard that he has been eyeing up, Sean Mahoney. "Thank you. This is excellent news." But then a voice whispers, "Simon says goodbye." Simon quickly clears his throat, telling Ricardo that will be all, accept the invitation and head home. Ricardo leaves, and Simon looks around for a moment and then says, "The boy is gone. I am alone." And Scarecrow walks out. "You are never alone. The fear is catching. Can you feel it? The way it spreads through the people of Gotham. If you want your magistrate, you're going to need to advance the experiment to the next phase before we are met with interference. This means people are going to die. Can you accept that, or are you too scared to save Gotham?" Meanwhile, down in the Narrows, Batman follows up on a lead with the Unsanity Collective. Their attacks seem uncoordinated, as if they're being hired to do these robberies, perhaps by the Scarecrow. Batman walks through the neon alleyway with a man standing in front of a door holding a gun, telling him to keep moving. "You picked the wrong alleyway." Batman tells him that he's in the right place. He's looking for the Unsanity Collective. "My name is Match. Tell Mater Ways I want in." The next day in Gotham City Hall, the mayor holds a press conference telling everyone that these have been dark days for Gotham ever since the massacre at Arkham Asylum, since the Joker Wars, since Bane City. In times of trouble, the city is always going to turn its focus on the heroes, but often they turn to the wrong ones. He goes on to explain that they don't need vigilantes, that they don't need colorful heroes, and they need to be honoring real heroes of Gotham City. Real men whose quick thinking saved the lives of the only survivors in the Arkham attack. And today they'd like you all to meet Sean Mahoney. As everyone is clapping and applauding, Simon Saint walks up, stealing the man away for a moment. He introduces himself as Saint, Simon Saint, the CEO of Saint Industries, and he wants to talk to Sean Mahoney about his future. Elsewhere on the ground, a large man stands over Match, telling him that he's a cop. Mr. Way says that this man isn't who he claims to be, and the large man says it's because he's a freaking cop. They should break this Match's arms and find out if he's got any friends out there ready to raid them. Ways says that he isn't a police officer. He was able to get a few glimpses from the Mind Machine when the man first entered. Breaker's confused, and Ways explains that whoever this man is, he's been training against psychics. Isn't that correct, Miracle Molly? A colorful woman with a prosthetic left eye walks out, stating that she thinks that they're secure enough in what the Unsanity Collective stands for. It doesn't matter if this man is a cop, a Fed, or even Superman. They'll take him for face value and give him the option to start over. That's what they promise everyone. So as they go on trying to decide what to do about this mystery man, eventually, Miracle Molly walks into his cell, telling him that he is coming with her. As he tries to come up with an act and tries to explain that he's trying to join them, or he should be rethinking it or whatever, she just tells him to stop. He's got a fake little mustache, he's doing a voice, and he's putting on a show. He's not debating whether or not he wants to join. She doesn't really know what he's here for, but she can promise him that his second option is the right one. So Match follows, asking, "If I take off my mask, will you take off yours?" She rips off some cloth, telling him that this is her life. It's not a mask. This is who she is, with all the fear stripped away. She's not hiding from anyone. She doesn't have anything to hide anyway. And as she goes on stating that the mask that she wears is more honest than prosthetic, he's welcome to keep his identity hidden. So of course, Batman takes a cloth, wrapping it around his face, giving it 2 eye slots, and she tells him that it's very Zorro of him. Now ditch the mustache. Truth. Why are you here? Batman goes on explaining that he wanted to understand them, so she waits for him to get on her glider, stating that she can work with that. They step on and they begin to fly into the sky, high above Gotham City. But meanwhile, back over in Midtown, Sean Mahoney is looking at the robotics in the robotics space, looking at the options for prosthetics that he has available to him through Saint Industries. And as he goes on explaining his history about how his family was all cops, from his grandfather to his great-grandfather, and that he applied for the force right at the right age, Simon tells him, actually, they're not in the market to give him a prosthetic to become a police officer. They're actually in the market to make a new kind of police officer. And they'd like him to be the first officer in that program. Sean says that he's flattered, but after losing an arm and a leg in A-Day, he can't be a cop anymore. And that's when Simon points to all the sorts of prosthetic products that they have at Saint Industries. He goes on to explain that he wouldn't be charged a penny and that he can consider it a gift that Sean Mahoney can become the first Peacekeeper and the new magistrate program run by Gotham City's own Mayor Nakano and Simon Saint. That they can become the new city-funded vigilantes of Gotham City. What does he think about that? Sean ponders it, considers it, and then tells him that he'll sign anything. How soon can they start? Later, back with Miracle Molly flying down into one of the collective's outposts, Batman asks if this is where they're staying. She says that they've gotten really good at pulling stakes up whenever there's trouble. They can move at a moment's notice, but this place is called Gotham 2. Batman looks around, stating that it looks like they live like nomads. Is she happy with that? And she goes on telling him that Mr. Waze says that happiness is the carrot society holds at the end of the stick. The two step into Molly's workshop, and Batman sees some weapons laid about, stating, "So your boss wipes all of your memories, and then you build them dangerous experimental technology to help others rob people?" Molly says not all people, the rich people. Some of them have given up the right to be called people. That's how messed up everything has gotten here in Gotham City. Instead of working to make it better for everyone, they only try to make it better for themselves. They are all opportunists, vultures. Batman asks if that's not a little unfair, and she laughs. "I knew you came from money. I could tell by the way you held yourself. Sure, it's unfair. Life is unfair. But we haven't left one person destitute in the streets, and we wouldn't." She steps out onto the opening, stating that their city is a broken, beautiful world, and there are broken, beautiful people living in it, and it breaks her heart. Seeing people work themselves to death, playing in a system that does nothing nice for them. A cold, unfeeling system that was designed decades ago and has been falling apart for longer than any of them have been alive. These people dream of being able to afford a nicer apartment, to get a nicer job, and all they want are their own childhoods chopped up and fed back to them to make them feel safe. Society created its economy. The sane think how a person is supposed to think, and the insane don't. Nobody wants to be crazy, so they all buy into society's version of sane. Mr. Waze wanted to break the system, break the whole economy. They aren't insane, we're post-sane, unsane. We've seen past society's vision of sanity. Batman asks, and what does that future look like? The one where we embrace what technology can do to make us better, make us more ourselves than we are allowed to be before. The people of the city are scared, Batman. Batman pauses. You knew? Of course I knew. It's in your voice. If I had any doubt, it went away when you didn't react to the view of Gotham, hundreds of feet in the air. Most people would have reacted harder. When I started, I put on the costume because I knew that the criminals of the city were a superstitious and cowardly lot. You're smart enough to see that it's not just the criminals, right? This world makes cowards of us all, too afraid to go down uncharted paths towards salvation. Do you ever wonder how much stronger you could be if you just let your past go? Could that version of Batman actually save Gotham? As the two look out on the city, Batman tells her, I don't know. And after a few moments, Molly says that he came here for answers, but not the ones that she gave him. Does he want to know? He doesn't have to hack their systems. She'll just tell him. The Unsanity Collective are breaking my usual modus operandi and targeting the owners of media companies based in Gotham. This isn't something that you did on your own. Somebody hired you. Molly nods. Yeah, we were given a tip and a list of assets. We took the extra cash offered for the job. Those who hired didn't want any of the proceeds or any corporate secrets. They just wanted the media. Batman tells her. They're afraid. Yeah, we wanted to scare them, but we had nothing to do with the mayor or the scarecrows that are popping up. Is that why you're here, Batman? To find out what is going on with the mayor, the scarecrows, and everything? I just need a name, Molly. Saint. Simon Saint brought us in. And there you have it, part 1 of our Batman Fear State comic book series that we're going to be covering here. Now, Fear State is going from issues 106 all the way to 117 plus tie-ins. So, I'm going to try to bring this to you on a weekly basis, 3 to 4 of the issues, and give you the whole Batman event that is going on in DC, and it is wrapping up right now. So what that means that if you want to know what's happening and you can't wait for me to cover the next portion of this, then make sure you run out to your local store and pick up the next issues. Today's episode incorporated issues 106, 107, and 108. And the official Fear State actual event doesn't actually pick up until we get to Batman 112. So we're giving you all of the setup to explain how Batman got captured by the Joker and the entire city was lost to fear. We're going to be bringing these out to you rapidly, so make sure you press subscribe, because in about 3 to 4 days, we'll probably just do the next part of this, because it crosses over in Detective, crosses over in Catwoman, goes into Harley Quinn. We got Secret Files, Miracle Molly. We got Batman spin-offs. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on, and you guys need to know what's happening in it. Anyway, thank you so much. I hope you guys are looking forward to this big Batman event that incorporates the entire Batman family. I'll see you guys next time right here.